Take the hubcap off, use a straight blade screwdriver. Just pop that off. Use a 19mm socket, take the lug nuts off. Pull the wheel off, take these bolts out, use a 14mm socket, and if the stud starts spinning or the caliper slide, you want to use a 17mm wrench. Take those out. Just grab the caliper. You might have to rock it back and forth a little bit. Slide it out. You can take a brake caliper hanger and find an area to hang it. And go on the control arm right there if you want. Just make sure there's no tension on the brake hose. Take the brake pads off. You can just use a screwdriver, pry those off. Use an 18mm socket, take these two bolts out for the caliper bracket. Take those bolts out, slide this bracket off. Now you want to take the rotor off. You could take a hammer and give it a tap on these areas. Just be careful of the studs. And if you have a threaded bolt that will thread into those holes, you can try that and just inch them in a little bit at a time. Just try to slide this off. I'll just hit it from the back side a little bit. And slide that off. Take a wire brush and just clean up the hub surface. Take a thin coat of anti-seize and just coat the hub. Take the rotor, just slide it on backwards first. Take some brake parts cleaner. Wash the back side of the rotor. Take a clean rag and just wipe it. For this one, you can wipe the inside as well. And turn it around. Slide it on. You might have to adjust the parking brake shoes. You might have to turn that adjuster in right there. You can use a pry bar or a screwdriver to do that. And just make sure the shoes are not rubbing on the rotor too much. Should just be a light drag. That's good. And take some brake parts cleaner and wash down this side and wipe it down. We want to clean up this caliper bracket. Take a screwdriver and just get underneath these pad clips. Slide those up. Pop those off. Take a wire brush and just clean this area right here. Take a thin coat of grease and just coat that area. Take the new pad slide, slide that in position. And another thin coat of grease, just where the pad's gonna sit. Then we'll do the same on the other side. Now take the pins out, just slide that off. Take some brake parts cleaner, clean it off. And if it was really bad and there was a lot of corrosion in there, you want to spray some brake parts cleaner in there and maybe even use a wire brush that fits in there. Take some new grease, put the grease on, slide it back in, and then make sure it seals on the boot. Do the same on this side. Slide the bracket in place. Take the bolts, get the bolts started. You put some thread lock adhesive on the bolts. Now I'm going to torque these two bolts to 148 foot-pounds. Now take the brake pads, line them up, and install them into the bracket. Now take the hanger off the caliper. Take a brake caliper compressing tool. And as you tighten the tool down, it's going to compress the caliper piston back into the caliper, pushing brake fluid through the hoses, through the lines, back up into the master cylinder reservoir. Just go nice and slow. That's compressed. Now slide this over the brake pads. Make sure the hose is not twisted. Put the bolts back in. And now torque these bolts to 23 foot-pounds. Put the wheel back on. And the lug nuts. Now I'm going to torque the lug nuts to 100 foot-pounds in a cross pattern to tighten the wheel down evenly. Just go around again, double check. Take the hubcap. On the back side, you should be able to see where the valve stem is supposed to go. So line that up with the valve stem, pop it back in place. After you're done, you want to make sure you pump the brake pedal. There's going to be an air gap between the brake caliper piston and the brake pads. That's good. And then under the hood, you want to check the brake fluid level and adjust accordingly.